And once again, I want to say greetings to each and every one of you. Aquaba. Welcome. Welcome to another round of the Conscious Rascal Report here on LIB Radio, here on the LIB TV, on livinginblack.com. My name is Kitty Awado, aka the Conscious Rascal. We dig live. We come at you from 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern Time, 5 p.m. GMT, and 8 p.m. East Africa Time. We get together with you, and we deal with culture, consciousness, historical perspectives. We deal with entertainment, economics, education, health, labor, law, politics, religion, family, future studies, all areas of human interactivity and human development. Today's date is Friday, the 30th of May. The year 2025 in the Western calendar. This corresponds to the year 6265 in the Kemetic calendar, to which we've realigned our cultural clock. Welcome to the seventh millennium. You have found your family in a peaceful place here on LIB Radio, LIB TV, and on livinginblack.com. Let me tell you what is on our agenda for today. Listen up, y'all. This is very, very important. And today on LIV Radio, at the current rate of inflation, in 100 years, the average salary for a white collar worker in the US will be around $14 million per year. At current inflation rates, a house that currently costs $100,000, which is kind of like a shack, to be honest, in many parts of the area, many parts of the country, a house that currently costs $100,000 will be over $50 million. And a car which costs over 2.6 million, no, a car which costs over, let me get it right, a car which costs $40,000 to own will be $2.6 million. How will the average wages paid to workers be able to keep up with these major increases in the lives of our people? We need to start planning for this future today, or risk being consumed by this system. Today, let's prepare for this far away future of tremendous inflation. Let's prepare for it. And there's no way in the world that the current inflation can be maintained. There's just no way. If we look, for example, at the inflation rate, bear with me here while I am trying to, there it is. If we look at the US national debt and consider that at the current rate of inflation, the debt today is $35 trillion. So at the current rate of inflation, let me do this real quickly. I'm going to use a AI to calculate this. At the current inflation rate, today's debt, U.S. national debt, I should say, national debt is 35 trillion. What will it be in 100 years? That's the question. At the current national rate of inflation, what will the debt be in 100 years? This is what it came back to say. The predicting the national debt 100 years into the future is challenging due to the various variables involved, such as economic growth, inflation rates, government spending, and fiscal policies. However, based on recent trends and projections, the national debt is expected to continue growing. In 2023, the national debt surpassed $34 trillion and reached $35 trillion in 2024. The US debt is rising by approximately $1 trillion every 100 days. The congressional budget has predicted that the debt held by the public will rise from 99% of GDP in 2024 to 116% by 2034, and could continue to grow if current laws generally remain unchanged. Given this trajectory, the national debt could be significantly higher in 100 years, potentially reaching astronomical levels. They can't even predict it. Let me try this in one more search engine. Copy, cut, and I'm going to try this in Copilot. Let's see if Copilot can do any better. So we are going into Copilot. I'm going to ask this question: at the current inflation rate, today's national debt, what will it be in 100 years? Is the question that I'm asking. And let's see if Copilot can even estimate. The current inflation rate is 2.3%. If we assume that the national debt grows at this rate annually for the next 100 years, we can estimate its future value using the formula for compound interest. Future debt equals current debt times +1 plus inflation rate. Plugging in the numbers, $25 trillion debt times 1.023. This results in approximately $271 trillion in 100. However, this is very simplified estimate. National debt is influenced by many factors beyond inflation. So $271 trillion. That's a lot of money. So it obviously cannot continue to grow. Let's go back over these numbers because I had calculated them twice. If we assume that the average inflation rate for housing continues at 4.24% per year, a house that costs $100,000 today could cost over $50 million in 100 years. Similarly, if the average inflation rate for a new car remains at 2.41% per year, a car that costs $40,000 today could cost around $2.6 million in 100 years. It says, of course, inflation rates fluctuate due to economic conditions, policy changes, and technological advancements. So these estimates could vary significantly. This results in approximately, the one I just copied about the national debt at the current rate of $35 trillion a year as of 2024. The national debt could be $271 trillion in 100 years. However, this is a very simplified estimate. National debt is influenced by many factors beyond inflation, including government spending, tax policies, economic growth, and interest rates. Today, I'm going through what I did already today before the show. In 100 years, At the current rate of inflation, I ask, what will an average house cost or automobile cost? And we already gave you those numbers, of course, and it talks about inflation. If we assume the average inflation rate for household items continues at 3% per year, the cost of furniture and appliances could increase dramatically over the next century. For example, if a refrigerator costs $1,000 today, in 100 years, the estimated cost would be around $19,200. Similarly, if a sofa costs $2,000 today, in 100 years, the estimated cost would be around $38,400. Inflation affects household items in several ways, making everyday essentials more expensive over time. Groceries forces food prices tend to rise due to inflation, especially for staples like milk, bread, and meat. Supply chain disruptions and production costs also contribute to price increases. Utilities, electricity, gas, and water bills often increase as inflation drives up the cost of energy production and distribution. Electronics and appliances, items like refrigerators, washing machines, and televisions become more expensive as manufacturing costs rise and supply chain issues affect availability. Furniture, the cost of raw materials like wood and metal increases, leading to higher prices for sofas, tables, and beds. Transportation, gasoline prices fluctuate with inflation, affecting the cost of commuting and travel, let alone if we could even afford to have a car. Creating a mathematical formula that can estimate today's cost for commodities in 100 years? Sure. A simple formula to estimate future costs based on inflation is F, which is the future price, equals P, the present price, times 1 plus the inflation rate, 1 being the number of years, times T, which is over time. And the inflation rate equals 1, the number of years in the future. Yeah, that's the number of equals the annual inflation rate expressed as a decimal plus the number of years in the future. So therefore, if the average salary for a white collar worker is today assuming to be $70,000 per year, in 100 years, that person will be making over $14 million a year in 100 years. But how do we justify that? With what will cost for transportation for a house? A house is over $50 million at that time. Using the formula, future price equals current price times, in parentheses, 1 plus R, the annual wage growth rate expressed as a decimal, that times the number of years in the future. For example, if the current salary is $70,000 and the wage growth is 3.5%, in 100 years, the estimated salary would be around $14.3 million. Of course, wage growth fluctuates due to economic conditions, technological advancements, and policy changes. So this estimate could vary quite significantly. I think we've concluded it's going to be pretty doggone expensive to be alive in 100 years. Our theme for today is investing in a 100-year family plan. For one, we're going to have to break the habit of consumer spending as it is right now. And we're going to be investing in long-term growth figures, growth items. Will Bitcoin be around in 100 years? Bitcoin is experiencing that kind of exponential growth at current. It could be that the central bank digital currency will be in place at that point, surpassing Bitcoin. The central bank digital currency will be indexed to current prices at that time, to the dollar. Thing about it is, you and I can't imagine being in the future 100 years from now. We just can't imagine it. I'm hoping that you did hear the program we did on LIB Radio about, this would have been about a month, less than a month ago, 2 weeks ago, with our sister, Dr. Audrey, Dr. Steph. And in that program, if you didn't hear it, you need to go back and listen to it. It was a very informative program. So having heard that program, which you did, now you have a good idea of what it is all about, what it's going to be about. So right now, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this future 100 years from now, and whether or not our grandchildren will even be around. I welcome your conversation today on LIB Radio. I'd love to hear from you. I do need someone out there to tell me if I can be heard, because I've been working on some pretty significant shifts around the office here. And I am assuming that you are hearing me, but I cannot prove that. I am working up here on YouTube. YouTube, are you in the house today? If you're there, let me know. If you're not there, then you didn't even hear the question, so you can just ignore the question. We are streaming live on Rumble, and I'm presuming, because I'm watching it on a second computer today, that it is going through Rumble, as is also being shared on YouNow.com, and I can go over here to YouNow and confirm Legion Nguyen is in the house. Alter Ego is in the house. Chemico is in the house. Welcome. Please like, fan, and enjoy the stream. Do it. Don't forget your 20 times free likes. Thank you. I appreciate that, Chemico. And Chemico invited all of his family to the broadcast too. How grateful I am to have you in the house today, as we are talking about crazy rates of inflation. So I am proud to say that I have almost overcome the issues I had when one of my two main computers here crashed. I had to order a new part for it. The new part came in. I put the new part in. It did not work, did not fix it. And so I finally just went to the closet, found another computer, pulled it out, pushed it into place. I had to thoroughly reconfigure this computer. It's still not completely reconfigured, but I did get the program up today. So, and I'm going to continue to reconfigure the new computer. With the new computer, it's not a new one, it's an older one. It was the best computer I had, but it just went south about 4 or 5 years ago. And it really got crazy. And I did pull it out today. I had pulled it out before and it didn't do a very good job, but then I pulled it out again today, and it is now wonderful to have this computer in place and in the way. We are talking about a 100-year family plan. What does a 100 years family plan, what does it look like? What will be the cost of the common things that we own at that time? That's a serious question that we really do need to start thinking about. I did some artist renderings today of not a whole lot of what the 100 year from now would look like. And let me just show you the artist renderings that I put up. Add this to the stage. I'm going to shrink me so you can see much more of it. I did renderings for, that's not it, that's yesterday's show. I did renderings for an automobile 100 years from now. I did a rendering of a house that's actually not 100 years from now. This house is a futurist house from like 1950s or something like that. It was some time ago. Let me see if I have that handy. It's not in the description, but that was a futurist looking house from 100 years, from the 50s. And it looks cool. It's got the outdoor pool. It's got a dome to protect it from the elements, which appear green in this photograph, but in reality, the elements might be anything but green. It's got the sandy beach area and all of that. It looks cute. And the car, now that looks cute. I don't know what those things are on top. I guess those would be solar panels and or communication panels pointing up to satellites. To will Starlink be the dominant satellite-based communication system 100 years from now? I don't know, because China is currently uplifting its own China Starlink, if you would call it that. Their own space grid. That's a whole nother topic. What will outer space be like 100 years from now? Will it be full of junk and clutter? Or will there be maybe some devices going around through space, scooping up, cleaning up the old and recycling it, or bundling it up, putting it in a package it and sending it into the sun? Will we be creating trash, garbage for the whole neighborhood? It's very interesting to think about that 100 years from now future. We do have Star Trek. In Star Trek, it looks like it costs $50 million for a house in Star Trek. Of course, no one has a house in Star Trek. So in the future, will we just be living in pods that can hold 1 or 2 people? Maybe 1 person. There may be no marriage. 100 years from now. There'll be maybe no need for marriage. There won't be having children. Whatever the case, we do need to plan. And I put up the average salary. What will the average worker be working for? Well, the average salary 100 years from now, what did we conclude that it was the average salary? The average blue collar, white collar salary, not blue collar, white collar salary. I put it up in here. Find salary. And the average salary 100 years from now, $14.3 million a year. So will you be working in, I guess you're going to have to work in Dubai at that time. That may be the only place where every worker, the average white collar salary, where every worker will be making over $14 million a year. It's pretty awesome. Till you think about the cost 100 years from now. I am talking to you. Are you talking to me? That's the question. We welcome you, our listening audience, to join us in this conversation. I'm probably not going to stay on too long today, unless I hear from you, our listening audience. But I will say I am starting my 100-year plan ASAP, as soon as possible. I know one thing. I wish I had started this plan 25 years ago. I wish I had started this plan through my parents 50 years ago. Let's see, 50 years ago, I would have been 19 years old. So I could have, would have, should have started a long-term 100-year plan back then, before things got so out of control. I know one thing. I am very proud that I started my plan to live to be 126 years of age. I'm very proud of the fact that I started that plan nearly 50 years ago. While at the age of about 27, I created a plan to live a long time, and then I have been refining that plan. So why don't we just go there? Why don't we plan on being around for a long time? We're not going to give up. We're not going to just capitulate and say things are too far out of control. I'm going to take the quick exit out the back door. And I guarantee you that option will be available. You can be assured of that. The option of ducking out the back door. What's it called? It's called, I can't remember what the word is. The word for voluntary suicide. What's that called? Voluntary suicide in the elderly is called, it's not eugenics. It's called words, synonyms. I'm looking for synonyms. for voluntary suicide in the elderly. I know you know what I'm talking about. But what's the word? I don't even have that in my lexicon. Euthanasia. That's the word I was looking for. I kept thinking eugenics. No, it's euthanasia. So the key point I was making is that with these crazy costs looming over all of us for the future, you can be assured that increasingly euthanasia will be an offer on the table. They're going to be paying people to clock out early. They're going to be paying younger people for their body parts. They're going to be paying the elderly. Take this early payout on your insurance and be gone by such and such a date, or we're going to come and remove you. It could get ugly. It could get real ugly in the future. We're talking to, I hope I'm talking to a family here that's paying attention. Investing in a 100-year family plan. Now, Doc, Stephanie, and I talked about this 2 weeks ago. We did talk about bringing in real estate into the family. Has to be a very important part of a 100-year family plan. And it included owning real estate for rent, for rental property. Now, that precludes that 100 years from now, everybody won't be owning a home. Only a few privileged will own all of the homes, kind of like it is already moving towards. So all of the homes that people have will be owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, Wackenhut. I don't know if they'll be into real estate. They're into everything else, right? These major corporations will own all of the homes, the Bechtels, and we'll all be renting. So at the current rate, let's do it one more time here. At the current rate, at the current inflation rate, today's cost of rent, cost to rent a single family dwelling will rise to what in 100 years? I think I asked the question right. At the current inflation rate, rent increase. To estimate the future cost of renting a single family dwelling based on historical inflation rates, we can use the average inflation rate for rent between 1913 and 2025, which is 2.73 per year. If we assume this rate continues unchanged for the next 100 years, a rent of $1,000 in 2025, which would be a very small single family home, would cost approximately $20,506.46 in 21-25. However, it is important to note that actual future rent prices may vary due to economic changes, market conditions, and other factors not accounted for in this simple projection. Because that simple projection, if we project it out over selected cities in the southwest of the United States, such as San Diego, Los Angeles, and Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada, the 2.73% increase per year is way off. Way off. So this, I dare not even say what this house I'm living in which I have a room in the house, would be costing, but it is a whole lot of money. Hey, the plan is to get out. Get out, get out, get out of America. America's too expensive now. What's going to be like 100 years from now? Two to the 20th power more expensive than it already is. Let's just plan on relocating, getting out of Babylon. We can get out. As African people, we have been invited to move to different countries. They want us in Burkina Faso. They want us in Ghana. They want us in Benin. They want us in Rwanda. They want us to come home to Uganda, to Kenya. Not all African countries are so friendly for us. I dare not say Libya would be a good place for us to move, or Egypt, or now just limited to those two. And we may not feel safe living in Sudan, South Sudan. Personally, I could live in most all of Africa, including Ethiopia, Algeria, Morocco. Algeria and Morocco may be more like Europe than sub-Saharan Africa, but I could live in Algeria or Morocco. There are other African people there. Algeria was the home of Frantz Fanon, least we should forget. What are we going to do? I don't think many of us are investing in a 100-year family plan. And it doesn't appear to me, I could be wrong, that we are even interested in living in Africa 100 years from now. So therefore, we're going to have to figure out something else. My plan to leave America and go to Africa. In Africa, I will be able to reset the calendar back maybe 100 years, no, maybe not, maybe like 30 or 40 years, and begin there. We will be able to set up businesses, to have employees, to be able to take the technological advances that we have enjoyed in the United States and in other Western countries. We will be able to take them and use them to our advantage in a country that may not yet have achieved these technological advances. I know one thing. In Africa, I will not have to deal with the narcissist like we have to deal with the narcissist here. You know what I'm talking about. With systematic racism permeating all aspects of our lives? Most certainly. We can do much better in Africa. than what we are doing here in America at current. It's not going to be easy wherever we are. Life is going to get really hard. 100 years from now, it is quite likely that Bill Gates will have his plan come into being, and the population of the world may be reduced by 80%. There are already reasons to sign on to the genocidal program of the Bill Gates, the Elon Musks, the Ted Turners and Warren Buffetts, the Oprah Winfreys of the world, who have followed the Paul Ehrlich work from the late 1960s. He wrote the book, The Population Bomb. For those who believe in the research work of, what was his name? The man who predicted, I'll have his name in a second, that the rate of population growth would outgrow the rate of our ability to adjust to feeding everybody. And his name is Population Growth and Feeding. I'll have his name very quickly. Search engine, help me out. The name, what is the name of the man? Oh, Malthus, Thomas Parsons Malthus. So the Malthusians may win out. You want to know what does Malthus say about the world in 100 years? Of course, Thomas Parsons Malthus lived a long time ago. You might be referring to Thomas Malthus, an 18th century British scholar. His best work, he was famous for his theories on population growth and resource scarcity. Malthus' most best-known work is an essay on the principle of population, published in 1798. Malthus' key ideas: population growth versus food supply. Malthus argued that population grows exponentially. Example given 2, 4, 8, 16. Whilst food supply grows linearly 2, 3, 4, 5. This leads to a situation where population growth outpaces the growth in food supply, resulting in widespread poverty and famine. Malthus identified 2 types of checks that prevent population from growing indefinitely. Positive checks. These include famine, disease, and war, which increase mortality. Or preventative checks. These include moral restraints like abstinence and late marriage, which reduces fertility. The economic and social implications of Malthus' works, he believed that these checks would always be necessary to maintain a balance between population and resources. He was skeptical about the ability of technological advancements to sustainably increase food production to match population growth. So what would Malthus' predictions for 100 years from now be? While Malthus did not make specific predictions about the world 100 years from today, his theories can be extrapolated to consider the following: population and food security. If population growth continues to outpace food production, there could be significant challenges in ensuring food security for a growing global population. However, modern advancements in agriculture and genetic engineering and vertical farming have significantly increased food production capabilities, which Malthus did not account for. Resource scarcity. Thomas Parsons Malthus' ideas about resource scarcity could be relevant in the context of other resources such as water, energy, and minerals. The world might face increased competition and conflict over these resources, especially if population growth continues unabated. Sustainability and technology. The role of technology in addressing resource constraints and improving efficiency will be crucial. Innovations in renewable energy, water management, and sustainable practices could mitigate some of the Malthusian concerns. However, the distribution of these technologies and their benefits will be a critical factor in determining the overall impact on society. On economic and social structures. Malthus's theories suggest that economic and social structures will need to adapt to manage population growth and resource distribution. Social policies, such as those promoting family planning and education, could play a significant role in managing population growth that he envisioned. So what conclusions can we draw? While Malthus' predictions are based on 18th century conditions and do not account for modern technological advancements, his ideas about the relationship between population growth and resource availability remained relevant. The world in 100 years could face significant challenges, but will also have the opportunity to innovate and adapt to ensure a sustainable future. Well, I say let us commit to this innovation and adaptation today. Commit to it today so that we will have it in place 100 years from now. What do you think? I see Late Staffel is in the house. Legion Nguyen is in the house. Also great to have you with us. And we have a lot of people. 100 Chemico has really tuned in today, and it's a pleasure. Absolutely is a honor and a pleasure to be serving you. I'm going to begin to wrap it up for today. I think we have a set of significant challenges that our great grandchildren will have to deal with. They will have to deal with it. So the key is what can you and I do today that will give our great grandchildren better ability to deal with it? For one, I would say we need to not give up on literacy. Personally, I think we need more literacy today in multiple languages than we had yesterday, last month. We need more literacy in multiple languages than what we have previously enjoyed as Americans. Think about it. You're a white collar worker in the year 2125. You're going to be paid $14.3 million a year. The question is can you trust that technology will allow you to function in multiple languages that distant future? Or should you start today to master multiple languages? I am right now restarting my African language studies. I'm studying Tree. I will be studying further Swahili, Kiswahili, and I am seriously considering pulling out my Amharic language books as well as I am studying French. I speak English, obviously, but I have a great need. J'ai un grand besoin pour étudier mon français. I have a great need to study my French so that I will be able to go to Burkina Faso later this year. I can't wait for the Burkinabe to learn Swahili, which I would understand that they will be doing. I can't wait for the Burkinabe to learn English, which is the international business language. I'm going to have to get ready for them. So I would suggest we start to study languages, that we study Africa, seriously study Africa. I suggest that we seriously consider upgrading our health status, our health trajectory. If you don't already know, let me be the first to inform you that the future is centered around healthy, raw, vegan food for healing. Healthy, vegan food. The future is not centered around eating more meat, drinking more milk, more dairy, more chicken, red meat, pork, whatever. That's not the future. That's killing off the ones that are engaging in it the most. It's killing off those engaging in it the most. Now, why would we pass up the opportunity to just remain healthy, live that long life expectancy that God, the Creator, promised the prophets? It's going to be a good life. We're going to be there. And we are going to be engaged, involved in all aspects of the good life that we can imagine. I'm going to take a few minutes here, if you don't mind, and I'm going to sell you a book. I'm going to sell you one book. Now, fortunately, you have a lot of choices. A book that I haven't been talking about very much, that I do think we should be talking about, is the book called, it's not called, it's my book on, it's called Furiously Vegan. Greetings, Ed L. Mack. I see you in the house. Finally showed up. Will we not possibly be in a new reset in 100 years? This reset we are in now is not a new thing, is it? We are now today in the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution was moving seriously towards unsustainability. That's a great question you asked, Ed. Because it had moved to unsustainability so firmly, that was why the the 2020 global reset was being called for openly to reset the global economy. There was an article which appeared in the Off Guardian. Let me find that article. And you do want to read. I hope you have already read this article. The article was in the Off Guardian, and it was Off Guardian, and it was talking about the global reset and the pandemic. Now, I'm on YouTube today, so I will not be able to talk about this subject. But I am going to give you this. This is the Off Guardian. This is from February. This is the article. And it was titled The Great Reset, the End of Capitalism as We Know It. Building Back Better means technocracy and the end of liberalism and democracy in one fell swoop. This article written by Sean Stenson. It's a very important article here. And I'm going to post this up here. Let me put it in. I'm going to put it in. Bear with me. This is going to take a second. This is a good article, and I'm really glad that you mentioned this, my brother. So I'm going to push this up here. Copy. And I'm going to push this up in the WhatsApp live stream right now for you and everyone else who wants to read it. And I'm going to push the title up as well. Bear with me. I'm going to push the title up as well. Copy. Now this one, I'm going to go ahead and put that up. And here is the title. You'll be able to get the title once you put it up in yours. The Great Reset, the End of Capitalism as We Know It. Building Back Better means technology, technocracy, and the end of liberalism and democracy in one fell swoop. It was written by Sean Stenson. This is a very, very good article. And let me put this up on YouTube for those who are in the house today. And having done so, I hope you get a chance to read it. Let me just share a little bit of the article. It says the Great Reset, the end of means of capitalism as we know it. To suggest that there has been an overreaction. Okay, I can't read it because it's got the keywords in it that are going to get me banned. And I don't want to get banned on YouTube today. But it talks about the CV word, the P word, and it says that may be the understatement of the century, the spark that began as a rational fear of the D word has been fanned into flames of widespread panic, which have raged through state and civic institutions. The thing about it is they declared if there's no elephant in the room, it's probably the fact that there seems to be no to speak of. Regardless of the overblown case reporting, there is no significant spike in the overall number of deaths compared to a normal FLU season. So I'm going to have to stop talking on that. Please do read that article. And you should join us. I want to bring up solutions in tomorrow's Saturday is the Living Superfood Family Reunion, where you and I and everyone else who's had a chance to participate in Living Superfood over the years gets a chance to get in a meeting with me. And we get a chance to talk very openly and very candidly about everything we know about living superfood, what it does for us, what it does to our bodies, how it strengthens our immune system, how it reinforces our ability to heal the body. I do share in-depth research. That's every Saturday. That is the Living Superfood Family Reunion. Let me give it to you right now. June 7th, that's the first Saturday feast. Join the Living Superfood Family Reunion. This is it. And are you looking for a holistic approach to prevent and reverse common chronic disease? We invite you to join the Living Superfood Family Reunion led by expert Chef Katie. This exclusive monthly membership offers you a bunch of different things. The monthly prescription is very inexpensive. I'm going to post it up in the chat at the end of today's broadcast. So here I'm going to grab the whole thing, join the Living Superfood Family Reunion. I'm going to give you the PayPal link because it does cost to participate. May have lost you right there, did I? I hope I didn't. It does cost to participate. It cost me to assemble this research. You can be assured of that. But if you should choose to be a part of it, you get access to not just the cost of assembling the research, but the years, the time it took to ascend to this research. You can cancel at any time. I would love having you in the house, my dear brother. I would love having everyone in the house. So we are going to go tomorrow. We are going to be together tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock West Coast time. That's 12 noon Central time. And that is from 6 p.m. GMT. And it is also from much earlier in the day. Oh, I'm going to put this up after. I'll have to put this up after the program. I'll put it in the video section. So I encourage each and every one of you to participate in the Living Superfood Family Reunion. We can start tomorrow to get this food thing right, to get this nutrition, this disease thing out of our way. We do not want to give our great-great-great-grandchildren the rates of chronic disease that we are suffering. I saw a graphic a few years ago that 100 years from now, everybody will be fat and in a wheelchair. They'll be using a wheelchair to just get around because their tiny little bones won't be able to carry around their huge body. A small percentage of people, maybe 2 to 3%, will be normal. And what is normal today, insofar as our weight, was not normal 50 years ago. That's a whole nother topic about what how our weight has significantly shifted since the early 1920s. I actually did a study on that, if you recall. We did that study 4, 5, 6 months ago, where I used photographs of the sorority I think it was Delta, the Alphas or the Deltas, something. The sorority. I used their college age photographs and compared them, the 1910s, the 1940s. I compared them from the 1920s, 1940s, 1960s, and 1980s, and today. So I compared those photographs of deltas, and you can find these. I compared them to what they are today, and it was pretty obvious that the women, young women, all the same age, college age women, had significantly expanded their girth while still in college in 100 years, let alone after they get out of college. We'd better do better than that. We had better do much, much better than that. Shabaka 14, I see you in the house. He says, greetings, Baba and family. I'm very happy to be here with you. Thank you for joining us today, Shabaka. As I am just getting ready to close out today's program, we did focus on the 100-year plan. Let me just real quickly bring you up to date. Today on LIB Radio, at the current rate of inflation in 100 years, the average salary for a white-collar worker in the U.S. would be around $14 million per year. At current inflation rates, a house that currently costs $100,000 will be well over $50 million. And a car will cost over $2.6 million to own. How will the average wages paid to workers be able to keep up with these major increases in the lives of our people? We need to start planning for this future today, or risk being consumed by this system. So today, let's begin to prepare for this faraway future of tremendous inflation. So that was what the subject was for today. And I think we did a pretty good job of it, of putting together this story of what will inflation do to our salaries in 100 years. 100 years from now, where will your family become established? Are we going to take another 100-year sojourn through this? Come on, think about it. We've been away from our home for 500 years. Now, when we turn around and we look back at our homeland, it is essentially, parts of it have been plundered through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the 90s. Now, Africa is on the rise. Africa rising. So for Africa rising for another 100 years, can you even imagine that? I can, I have, I'm going home. I plan on my children being born in an African nation. And I plan on teaching my children to lead the nation, lead the people, lead their peers. Don't make the mistakes that we Africans across the diaspora made in our lives. Shabaka, you know that. Edel, you know that. We cannot afford to continue to make these major mistakes. We cannot afford that. So on that note, Keaty has finished his work for today. I'll thank you all for tuning in. It's been a good day. I didn't even have to use my AK, as Ice Cube himself might say. We are LIV Radio, LIV TV, and livinginblack.com. I hope you do tune in to us regularly. Tomorrow we are off. I'm not planning on doing the afternoon show. Sometimes I will do it, very rarely though now. I was doing it every week on Saturday, but quite simply, it was a little difficult getting you all to follow along with it. I'm going to do it again. Tomorrow morning, I promise you, you will definitely not regret tuning into the morning Living Superfood Family Reunion. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. If you do, you may just be missing out on a good thing, on the best thing that you and I could imagine would be you and I taking control of our lives. And that's what we do here on LIV Radio, LIV TV, and livinginblack.com. We do it every morning and every day. We have a new theme for you and I to focus on so we can build the future that all of us know is coming and for which you and I, we are not afraid. Peace and prosperity to each and every one of you on LIV Radio, LIV TV, and on livinginblack.com. Peace, y'all.